Hey everyone, the Magic Adventurer here, and today we're going to dive into my experience at the park just this last weekend. Let's get into this. So I went down to Disney World just the other weekend and I saw a few different changes even compared to just a few months ago when I went back in August. So first things first, everyone has been mentioning how the crowd levels at the parks are starting to rise. And I would have to agree that compared to back when I went in August, there are definitely more people going back into the parks now. I think Disney World is finally getting closer to hitting that 25% capacity that they reopened at back in July. These crowds do affect a few different things, such as making some of the lines for these rides a little bit longer than just walk-ons like they were a few months ago. But it is still nowhere close to how the ride lines were back before they shut everything down. I actually have a pretty good example. So the day before they closed down, back before everything happened, I was in the parks and I waited about 2-ish hours to get on Flight of Passage at park opening time. When I went this past weekend, I waited just about an hour to get on the exact same ride at the exact same time. I feel like Disney is still doing great as far as keeping everything clean and safe for everyone during this time, but I would always caution and say go with your gut on what you believe is safe for you and your family because everybody's situation is much different. There are still several times where I wasn't close to other people and they are pretty good at keeping the mask enforced compared to most normal places. Of course, there's always going to be a few rule breakers, but they were pretty few and far between, and cast members do jump on you pretty quick if you aren't wearing it properly over both your nose and below your chin. I will say that when you are waiting in these very spread out lines, that you do definitely notice now when they are cleaning the rides. It does really stall that line a lot compared to, when you're usually used to when you're walking through these lines, because they do move fairly quickly. And it does add a bit of time when you're waiting in the line, and I'm worried to see what it will actually do in just a few months if they start increasing the capacity in the parks, but we'll just have to wait and see. As far as the temperature now in Florida with the mask, it is so much more bearable now than it was back in August, but it is still definitely not the greatest with the mask. It still really does affect, how hot it makes you feel when you're at the park, so take that into consideration. My family and I noticed us utilizing the relaxation zones in each of the parks a few different times throughout the day to be able to cool off and relax without having to wear the mask. So if you're going anytime soon, I highly recommend finding those different relaxation zones in each of the parks and using them to your benefits. They are great little areas throughout the day, but it should get better as it gets colder and colder in Florida. But of course, it is still Florida. It never gets fully cold. That is all I had for today's video. It was just a quick little roundup for my recent trip, so everyone could hear how it is now compared to just a few months ago when I talked about it back in August. I'll be making a few different videos here soon and all the new project changes and rumors to all the new upcoming rides and future projects that Disney currently has going on. So if you don't want to miss that, make sure you do hit that subscribe button. Like the video if you liked it as well. I am the Magic Adventurer, and I'll see you next time.